Everyone's moving these days. Red states, blue states, expensive states, please don't move here states. But here's the thing, while everyone's obsessing over Florida and Texas, you might be missing out on states that are cheaper, safer, and low-key awesome. That's right, there are places in America with good jobs, solid housing, and actual peace and quiet that no one is talking about. But here's the catch. You keep hearing about the same 5 cities, over and over and over. Meanwhile, there's a town where you can buy a house for under $180,000, another where unemployment is practically non-existent, and one surprising state where nature, Wi-Fi, and good beer coexist in perfect harmony. Think you know the best cities? Let's find out. Because today, we're counting down the 10 best unseen states to live in 2025, the ones that aren't trending but maybe should be. And trust me, you're not ready for what's next. Spoiler, one of the best places to live in America right now is a state most people only know from a license plate. And hey, choose wrong, and it could cost you thousands or your sanity. No pressure. Let's break it down. Number 10. Iowa, the introvert's paradise. Alright, Iowa. You hear that and immediately think of cornfields, tractors, and maybe that one time you got lost trying to pronounce Des Moines in 6th grade. To most people, it's flyover country, a place you only see through a plane window at 35,000 feet. But for introverts, remote workers, and anyone allergic to big city nonsense, Iowa might be low-key heaven. Let's get nerdy for a sec. Median home price, $215,000. Yeah, you read that right. Cost of living, 11% below the national average. Crime rate in Des Moines, 17% lower than the national average. Job market, solid. Low unemployment at 2.9% and surprisingly decent growth in tech, healthcare, and finance. Rent, a 1-bed in Des Moines, around $950 per month. That's half a closet in LA. Reddit user put it best. Living here is chill. Nothing happens, and that's the way we like it. Honestly, Iowa's biggest crime is probably too many Casey's pizza billboards. So what do you get? Quiet neighborhoods, safe streets, affordable living, an actual space between you and your neighbors. Like, imagine not hearing someone's midnight TikTok dance battle through the wall. Downside? If you're a social butterfly or need a beach, this ain't it. But for folks craving calm and cash flow, Iowa is a tactical nuke of peace and practicality. Let's talk about Iowa weather for a sec. It'll be sunny, 65 degrees, birds chirping, and then out of nowhere, tornado watch, seek shelter immediately. Like what? I just grilled chicken, and now I'm in the basement with a weather radio and 3 confused dogs. Oh, in winter? Let's just say the wind here doesn't blow. It violates you. Imagine stepping out of your $900 per month apartment into a quiet street. You hear birds, not sirens. Someone waves at you just because. You sip a local cold brew, the sun's out, and oh look, zero traffic. Zero. Feels weird, right? In a good way. And if you think Iowa is wild, the next place somehow made weird a competitive sport. Next up, number 9, coming in hotter than your ex's new adventure lifestyle. Number 9, New Hampshire, freedom plus maple syrup. Welcome to New Hampshire, aka live free or die country. Which, let's be honest, sounds like something your uncle with 3 Harley tattoos would say before shotgunning a PBR. But look past the libertarian bumper stickers and maple syrup worship, and what you get is something surprisingly rare: freedom, safety, and actual affordability in the Northeast. That's right. New Hampshire is the only New England state not actively trying to bankrupt you for daring to own a driveway. Income tax? None. Sales tax? Still none. Median home price? Around $360,000. Yes, high-ish, but not by Northeast standards. Cost of living? About 3% below the national average. Crime rate, one of the lowest in the U.S., ranked number 2 for safety in 2025. Jobs, strong in healthcare, tech, and manufacturing. Unemployment, a crisp 2.4%. And unlike some places, New Hampshire isn't just a good stats sheet, it feels chill. Like Vermont's cooler, less artsy cousin who knows how to fix a car and file their taxes on time. So basically, it's New England without the superiority complex and $7 parking meters. You get safe streets, a killer quality of life, beautiful, small-town energy with mountain views and 45-minute access to the ocean. Plus, you keep more of your paycheck, which in 2025 is like winning the lottery. And people here, independent, friendly enough but not nosy. Nobody's peeking through your blinds or asking why you aren't married yet. Now, let's talk about winter. New Hampshire doesn't get snow. It gets dumped on like a bad reality TV date. We're talking blizzards with names, frozen windshield wipers, and snowplows that pass your driveway just before you finish shoveling. Thanks, Dan. Oh, and black ice. It's everywhere, even on your soul. Picture this. You're in a cozy cabin just outside Portsmouth. It's early morning, snow on the pine trees, quiet enough to hear the crunch of your boots. You sip a maple latte while your dog happily faceplants into a snowbank. Yeah, that's New Hampshire. It's great living here if you like 4 seasons and all of them are winter. Honest. And 40% maple syrup, probably. Quick question, would you trade year-round sunshine for low taxes and snowy peace? Drop a snowflake or sun in the comments. Let the great weather war begin. And if you thought New Hampshire was wild, wait till you see the next place. It's like Mayberry with bourbon and a side of weird. Next up, number 8. It's southern, scenic, and secretly stacked with outdoor magic. Number 8. Arkansas, nature's underdog. Arkansas, land of Walmart, Bill Clinton, and not a whole lot else if you believe the stereotypes. Most people picture it as backwoods country full of bugs, bass boats, and banjos. But here's the plot twist. Arkansas is kind of killing it if you're into affordable living, outdoor beauty, and not having to sell a kidney to buy a house. It's like Colorado and Tennessee had a budget-friendly love child who hates crowds and loves hiking. The numbers don't lie. Median home price, $190,000. That's not a typo. Cost of living, 12% below national average. Unemployment rate, around 3.1% and dropping. Quality of life, high marks for air quality, walkability in places like Fayetteville, and insane access to trails, rivers, and lakes. Crime? Higher in Little Rock, but much lower in cities like Bentonville and Hot Springs. So yeah, the state has its rough patches, but if you know where to look, Arkansas is a sleeper pick for 2025. Especially if you're outdoorsy, or just tired of paying $4,000 per month for a view of your neighbor's brick wall. You save money. You breathe actual fresh air. You can go kayaking before lunch and still make a home for tacos and true crime podcasts. And the people. Genuinely friendly, not fake friendly. The only aggressive thing you'll deal with is the occasional swarm of mosquitoes the size of small drones. Okay, we need to talk about Arkansas humidity. Imagine stepping outside and it feels like someone slapped you in the face with a hot sponge. Your clothes stick. Your hair gives up. And don't even try to be fashionable. This is flip-flop and frizz weather. And yet somehow, the locals call this a nice day. Now close your eyes. Not literally, you're watching a video. Picture waking up to fog, lifting off the Ozarks. You grab a coffee, walk out on a quiet trail, and the only traffic is a deer crossing your path like it pays rent. And best of all, your mortgage is less than a studio apartment in LA. Wild. Arkansas is where you go if you want mountain views and Walmart money. I mean, the guy's not wrong. Especially if you're near Bentonville, aka Silicon Ozarks. Fun fact, there are more hiking trails in Arkansas than Starbucks in Manhattan. I can't back that up, but it feels true. And that's what matters. Remember when we said Iowa was peaceful? Arkansas looked at that and said, "Oh my sweet tea, we've got waterfalls." Would you live somewhere with killer views, cheap homes, and 10,000% humidity? Comment evergreen tree for heck yes, or fire for no thanks, I melt. And if you think Arkansas is wild, the next place somehow made weird a competitive sport. Next up, number 7, it smells like cheese and ambition. Number 7, Wisconsin, cheese, beer, and jobs. Wisconsin, the land of cheese curds, bratwursts, Packers fans, and winter so cold your soul freezes mid-blink. Most people think of it as one giant tailgate party surrounded by snow. But here's the thing, Wisconsin is way more than cheese hats and beer bellies. It's actually one of the smartest places to live in 2025 if you like keeping your savings and your sanity. Think Midwest values, low prices, and cities that don't punish you for existing. Radical concept, I know. Let's break it down. Median home price, around $270,000 statewide. Milwaukee's lower than you'd think. Cost of living, 7% below the national average. Job market, strong growth in healthcare, manufacturing, and surprise, tech. Unemployment, a steady 3.2%. Crime, Milwaukee has its sketchy zip code, sure, but Madison ranks among the safest mid-sized cities in America. Lifestyle, tons of festivals, actual culture, and yes, some of the best beer on the continent. So basically, it's Portland with less beard oil and more deep-fried everything. Living here is 50% beer, 50% snow, and 100% yelling, "Go Pack Go" at strangers. Wisconsin, where community spirit is measured in cheddar and touchdowns. You're not just saving money here, you're buying sanity. Low housing costs, manageable traffic, and a community vibe that hasn't been ruined by influencer culture. Plus, if you work remote, you'll find better coffee, cheaper rent, and fewer neighbors with crypto-themed vanity plates. Can we talk about the roads in Milwaukee? It's like the potholes went to boot camp. Every block has at least one crater large enough to swallow a Prius. And somehow, every repair takes 5 months, unless it's outside Lambeau Field, that gets fixed overnight, like magic. Picture this. You're sipping a hot buttered rum at a winter market in Madison. Snow's falling, lights are twinkling, and a guy in a Viking helmet just offered you a bratwurst. It's weird. It's wholesome. And your rent? Still under $1,200. This is what budget-friendly peace looks like. Madison has one of the lowest crime rates in the U.S. Meanwhile, San Francisco has more car break-ins than Wisconsin has cows. And Wisconsin has a lot of cows. Real talk, could you handle 6 months of winter for affordable homes and epic cheese fries? Drop 1 or 2 in the comments. Pick your fighter. Remember Arkansas had hiking and mosquitoes? Wisconsin's got snowshoes and brat grease. Choose your adventure. And if you think Wisconsin is wild, the next place? It makes quiet living feel like a rebel move. Number 6. Alabama. Don't sleep on the South. Alabama. Just saying the name makes some people picture pickup trucks, barbecue, and 105-degree tailgates. Others think history, heat, and maybe I'll pass. But plot twist, Alabama is quietly becoming one of the smartest moves you can make in 2025. And no, I'm not joking. Between low housing costs, emerging tech hubs, and a lower cost of living than your DoorDash total last week, it's time to stop sleeping on the South. Let's hit some numbers. Median home price, $210,000 statewide. Huntsville, around $280,000 and rising. Cost of living, 13% below the national average. Job market, Huntsville is a NASA and aerospace hotbed. Tech jobs are booming. Rent, a one-bed apartment averages under $1,000 in most cities. Crime, Birmingham has its rough edges, sure. But Madison and Hoover? Way below the national average. So yes, the state that brought you biscuits in college football also delivers engineering careers, cheap rent, and shockingly fast internet. Living in Alabama means owning a home instead of just liking photos of them. It's fresh air, wide open spaces, and actual elbow room. You get to keep more of your paycheck, and maybe even your mental health. Oh, and if you work remotely, good luck going back to big city rent after this. Okay, Alabama, love ya, but let's talk about humidity. It's like walking through soup. Thick, sticky, 90-degree gumbo air. You don't sweat, you marinate. You step outside for 5 minutes and feel like a microwave meatloaf. And the bugs? They want that smoke. Now imagine this. You're sitting on a porch in Huntsville, sweet tea in one hand, laptop in the other. There's a breeze, birds chirping, and your rent? $950. You're outside working, peaceful, and your neighbors say hi, not move your car. Alabama's like a backyard barbecue that turned into a tech meetup. You'll sweat through your shirt, but it's worth it. I mean, that's basically the whole experience in one sentence. Could you handle humidity for a mortgage you can actually afford? Drop 3 for sweat now, chill later, or 5 if you'd rather freeze in peace. Remember when we called Wisconsin's winter soul freezing? Yeah, Alabama is the opposite. It steams your soul. And if you think Alabama is wild, the next place somehow made weird a competitive sport. Alright, before we jump back in, quick breather. Stretch your legs. Hydrate. Or just stare blankly into space like you're on your 5th Zoom call today. Here's a fun fact you didn't ask for. Wisconsin has more lakes than Minnesota. Yeah, the land of 10,000 lakes got out-laked by its cheesier neighbor. Minnesota's shaking. And speaking of surprises, get this. Huntsville, Alabama, now has the highest concentration of engineers per capita in the U.S. Not Austin, not Seattle. Huntsville. You can launch a rocket and grab fried okra in the same hour. Also, shout out to those of you still here who caught the mosquito rant back in Arkansas. You know who you are. You've swatted the truth. Respect. Fun fact, if Iowa humidity and Alabama heat had a baby, it would be Florida. But we're not talking about Florida, because this list has taste. Now, ready to find out which state is hiding natural beauty, fast internet, and a weird obsession with trout? Don't blink. Don't scroll. Don't trust real estate TikTok. Let's keep going. Number 5. Idaho. Potatoes and peace of mind. Idaho. Yes, that Idaho, the one everyone thinks is just potatoes, elk, and conspiracy theories about why Boise is pronounced Boise. But here's the thing, Idaho isn't just rural. It's real. It's peaceful, it's clean, and in 2025, it's one of the best places to actually live without selling your soul or your left kidney. It's like Montana's quieter, slightly more organized cousin. With Wi-Fi, let's hit you with some hard data. Median home price in Boise, around $430,000. Yes, it spiked, but wait for it. Cost of living statewide, just under national average. Rent in nearby cities like Nampa/Meridian, $1,200 to $1,400 for a solid 2-bed. Crime, violent crime rate in Idaho is 41% lower than the national average. Job market, low unemployment at 3%, booming in health, tech, and trades. So basically you can live somewhere safe, stable, scenic, and still make it to Costco without a machete. Boise is where Californians go to heal. Truly the spiritual rehab center of the West. You get clean air, room to breathe, neighbors who wave but don't hover. And no, not every house has a potato cellar, though some absolutely do. Idaho gives you mental clarity and financial traction. That's a rare combo in 2025. Let's talk about coffee culture in Boise. They've got third-wave espresso bars that still serve drip coffee from a gas station pot. You'll pay $6 for a gluten-conscious oat brew made by a barista named Aspen who spells it with a silent J. And the kicker? It'll somehow taste amazing. Ugh. Respect. Picture it. You're standing on a trail in the foothills just outside Boise. Sunrise is bouncing off the snowcaps. You sip your overpriced, but somehow perfect latte. A guy jogs by with his dog. No traffic, no stress. And your mortgage? Way less than what you'd pay for a studio in LA with a view of nothing. Idaho's biggest city, Boise, has a crime rate 3x lower than San Francisco's, and it has fewer poop maps. Coincidence? I think not. Could you handle small-town peace with mountain views and a drive-through espresso shack on every corner? Drop S for let's do this, or R if I need my urban chaos. Remember Arkansas had nature and bugs? Idaho has more nature and bugs that respect personal space. And if you think Idaho is wild, the next place somehow made weird a competitive sport. Number 4. South Dakota. Quiet, quirky, affordable. South Dakota. Yeah, the one with Mount Rushmore, Buffalo, and 11 people per square mile. Let's be honest, most people forget it's even a state until they drive through it on a road trip and go, wait, is that a real mountain with George Washington's face on it? But in 2025, South Dakota is turning heads, not with glitz, but with grit, space, and affordability that feels like a glitch in the Matrix. Let's talk data. Median home price, around $290,000, and way less in smaller cities. Cost of living, 10% below the national average. State income tax, zero, not a zilch. Crime. Sioux Falls has a lower violent crime rate than most major U.S. cities. Jobs, booming in healthcare, energy, and finance. Unemployment sits around 2.2%. So yeah, no taxes, low crime, jobs, and wide open views. It's like someone took Colorado, made it quieter, and forgot to raise the rent. We don't lock our doors. Not because we're reckless, because we know everyone, including the sheriff. Translation. If you steal a lawn chair here, it's a town scandal. South Dakota isn't flashy. It's stable, clean, and shockingly modern in cities like Sioux Falls and Rapid City. You don't move here for the party. You move here to actually breathe again. Lower bills, less noise, and a better shot at owning a home before 40. Okay, but can we talk about the wind? There's breezy. Then there's Dakota wind, which feels like the sky just slapped you with a frozen ironing board. You walk out the door and your hoodie turns into a parachute. If you've ever wrestled a trash can in a wind tunnel, congrats, you've trained for South Dakota. Now imagine this, you wake up in Rapid City. It's quiet. Not creepy quiet, just peaceful. The Black Hills are in view. You grab coffee from a drive-through shack. There's no traffic, no sirens, no parking tickets. Just you, your car, and the smell of pine trees in the air. And your mortgage? still under $1,500. And if you think South Dakota is wild, the next place somehow made weird a competitive sport. Number 3. Maine, the chill corner of America. Maine, the state that's basically Canada's quieter, moodier sibling. You hear Maine, and your brain autoloads. Lighthouses, lobster rolls, and fog, so much fog. But here's the twist. Maine isn't just coastal postcards and Stephen King novels. In 2025, it's one of the chillest, safest, and most overlooked places to actually build a life. It's calm. It's cool. It's got that leave me alone, but also wave politely energy. Here's what the numbers say. Median home price, around $330,000, lower in inland towns like Bangor or Lewiston. Cost of living, just slightly above average, but with low taxes and high value. Crime rate, one of the lowest in the US, seriously, like Hallmark movie levels of safe. Jobs, growing in healthcare, biotech, and remote work. Lifestyle, nature, quiet, and actual clean air. Portland's got a sneaky good food scene, too. So basically, Maine is what hipsters think Vermont is, but with fewer man buns and better seafood. Maine is heaven if you like fog, flannel, and nobody talking to you at the grocery store. Honestly, that's a dream. Living in Maine means slowing down without falling behind. It's for people who are done with chaos and just want solid internet, good coffee, and the sound of seagulls instead of car alarms. You're not off the grid. You're just off the stress. Okay, but let's talk about Maine weather. It doesn't snow. It dumps. Then it freezes. Then it rains on top of the ice. It's like winter went through 3 emotional breakdowns and took it out on your driveway. And no one plows until you've already fallen at least once. It's the law. Imagine waking up in a cozy cabin just outside Portland. You hear gulls, not sirens. You sip coffee while fog rolls over the bay. Your phone buzzes. Remote job paycheck just hit. Outside, pine trees. Inside, peace. Now imagine affording that life. That's Maine. And if you think Maine is wild, the next place somehow made weird a competitive sport. Number 2. Kentucky, Bourbon and Big Potential. Kentucky, the state where people think everyone rides horses, drinks bourbon for breakfast, and lives on a fried chicken farm. And you know what? Not totally wrong. But here's what they don't tell you. Kentucky is also quietly becoming one of the smartest states to live in, especially if you're tired of rent prices that make your bank app cry. It's Southern charm without the sticker shock. Big on culture, big on space, and even bigger on opportunity. The receipts. Median home price, around $210,000 statewide. Lexington sits just above $260,000. Cost of living, 14% below the national average. Average rent, 1-bed apartments are still under $1,000 in most major cities. Job market, booming in logistics, healthcare, and yes, bourbon. Unemployment's chilling around 3.5%. Crime, sure, Louisville's got hot spots. But cities like Bowling Green and Lexington are safer than you'd expect and way more affordable than coastal alternatives. So basically, for the price of a shoebox in LA, you get a yard, a porch, and probably a neighbor who offers you homemade jam. In Kentucky, you can go from sipping bourbon at a rooftop bar to watching a tractor parade in the same afternoon. That is a vibe, and I'm into it. Will you actually get here? Peace, space, a yard, a decent paycheck, and a community that doesn't think you're weird for owning both hiking boots and a crock pot. It's that sweet spot between city energy and small-town affordability without the crushing debt. Okay, can we talk about the drivers in Louisville? Either they're going 20 in a 55 like they're sightseeing through Narnia, or they're going full NASCAR in a 2004 Chevy Malibu with 2 missing hubcaps. There's no in-between. It's not a road, it's a choose-your-fighter menu. Now picture this. You wake up in Lexington. The air smells like fresh grass and slightly overpriced bourbon. You grab breakfast from a place called Biscuits and Blessings. The waitress calls you Han, and your rent? $900. The horse farms? Real. The traffic? Light. The vibe? Slow in the best way. Fun fact, Kentucky produces 95% of the world's bourbon. So yeah, this state's basically the adult version of Willy Wonka's factory, but with more flannel. Be honest, could you live somewhere with actual trees, friendly neighbors, and zero $15 smoothies? Drop D for pour me in, or H if you're just here for the horses. And if you think Kentucky is wild, wait till you see what made it to number 1. Number 1. Montana, the wild card winner. Montana, the land of big skies, bigger trucks, and towns so far apart you'll start talking to road signs just to feel something. But here's the kicker. Montana is no longer just cowboy country and Yellowstone set pieces. It's become the quiet powerhouse of places to live in 2025. It's wild. It's remote. It's real. And if peace, nature, and space to breathe are your vibe, Montana wins. By a mile. Check the receipts. Median home price, around $425,000, but lower in cities like Great Falls or Helena. Cost of living, around 3% above the national average, but you get way more for it. Crime, low across most of the state. Violent crime rate is half the national average. Jobs, growing in healthcare, energy, and remote work. Unemployment's hovering around 2.9%. Lifestyle, mountains, lakes, hiking, skiing, basically a giant outdoor therapy session. So yeah, for the cost of a shoebox apartment in San Francisco, you can get a cabin in the mountains with elk in your backyard and actual quiet. Living in Montana is like being in a nature documentary, except sometimes the bear is your problem. Hey, better a bear than a $3,000 studio with a shared bathroom. You're not just saving money, you're saving mental bandwidth. Montana is freedom. It's waking up without noise. It's fewer people, more stars, and rent that doesn't feel like extortion. It's also remote work heaven if you don't mind nature flexing on you every day. Okay, but let's talk about the wind. It's not a breeze. It's a full-blown atmospheric tantrum. 1 minute you're sipping coffee, the next your patio furniture's halfway to Idaho. Also snow in May? That's just rude. Now imagine this, you're in Bozeman. It's morning. The mountains are glowing. The air is crisp clean and smells like pine and potential. You've got Wi-Fi, a fireplace, and the neighbor's dog just trotted over to say hi, without barking. Now check your bank account. Yep, still not broke. Montana has more cows than people. So if you've ever wanted to live somewhere you're not the traffic, this is your moment. Remember South Dakota's wind? Montana said, hold my weather system and watch this. Could you handle wide open space, random blizzards, and no Trader Joe's? Drop K for born for this, or P if you'd rather hear car horns and regret. So there you have it, 10 unseen states that aren't screaming for attention but deserve it. Places where you can breathe, build, and maybe even own a damn house without selling a kidney. These states, they're not about hype, they're about living better. The trend here is simple. People are quietly trading chaos for calm, concrete for trees, and overpriced square footage for actual square footage. Whether you're escaping sky-high rent, soul-draining commutes, or just your neighbor's 3 a.m. drum circles, there's more out there. Sometimes the best move isn't the loud one. It's the one nobody told you about, because they didn't want you to find it. Hit that subscribe button, or just risk moving somewhere dumb.